What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching The Road to TF5. This is just a web series we're talking about Transformers last night. This is episode number 82, and this is going to be a special episode because we're not going to talk about the filming of Transformers last night. Instead, we're going to have a conversation. Well, actually, the conversation's already been had, but I'm going to share it with you guys. I'm going to share with you this conversation that I had with concept artist Riley Herrera. And what we talked about is something that I think a lot of you guys will find very, very interesting. He was a concept artist for Transformers, the very, very first film. He didn't work on Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, or Age of Extinction, but he did do some work on Transformers last night. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And first of all, I want to say thank you, Riley, for taking the time to answer these questions. I really appreciate it. And I think you guys will really find it very, very interesting. So, first question that I have is, what is your favorite Transformers series? Excluding G1, I don't ever consider the original of anything to be comparable fairly to anything after. I enjoyed the Unicron trilogy in my teens, but I'd have to say animated threw a good spin on things. They didn't play out a gimmick to sell toys, and the sales didn't suffer. Plus, you got to love the callbacks to G1. Next question. If you can recall back, what was going through your head when you found out that you would be doing the concept art for the Transformers live action films? I was mainly piggybacking off of major artists like Nizzy and Proctor. When I got pitched the chance, I was ecstatic. I first remember hearing about a live action movie, and I remember thinking to myself that it wasn't a good idea. And while some people out there would agree with that idea, I eventually grew very fond of it after seeing Proctor's work, I think. And I was enthralled in what would become the movie franchise. Despite getting on board late for the 2000 film, I started to get extremely nervous about screwing up. So much I only focused on the one character, Tidal Wave. The script called for a Decepticon to come down after the battle in Mission City to tease the next film. Proctor worked on the concept for Shockwave, later used for the video game adaptation. I chose Tidal Wave. Neither of which made the cut, but I guess the idea of Tidal Wave stuck around. Nizzy began working on concepts for a submarine Decepticon that would have dropped off the Constructicons for Megatron's revival, and later during the naval sequences with the Protoforms, and later Railgun Carrier. Again, never used, but inspired the Driller for Dark of the Moon. I didn't have any part of Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, or Age of Extinction, unfortunately, as I was pursuing other paths at that time. Question number 3. As a concept artist, what is the general process for bringing a character to life? Does Michael Bay just tell you to just come up with something? Bringing a character to life through my interactions, Bay tells the writers what he envisions while also informing the artist later on during completion of a draft to bring to life a particular scene, character, or backdrop. While Bay also informs us on what vehicles he plans to acquire licenses to for product placement, the scriptwriters give tidbits of story for us to build a character around and bring it to life. For instance, one of my favorite characters, Shockwave, the ruthless dictator of Cybertron, relentlessly slaughtered both Jolt, RC, and Elita 1 prior to Dark of the Moon, was designed as not having a traditional humanoid face, and therefore we as humans have less of a connection to, making him appear more dead and emotionless, and someone who should strike fear into sparks of both Autobots and Decepticons alike. Question number 4. How long does it normally take on average to come up with one design for a robot, for both robot and alt mode? Bay usually has in mind what kind of vehicles he wishes to acquire license for in order to use. Until the licenses are acquired, robot modes tend to use a generic parts of a vehicle, what can easily be changed later into something specific once said license is obtained. In terms of time, so many hours can be put into a single piece of art. A final rendition of a character that will be used on screen can take days or even weeks of undergoing redesigns and touch-ups before being finalized and later passed on for 3D modeling to add in as CGI. But what do I know, as Tidal Wave was never made the cut, and from what I was told, despite the confirmation of Onslaught and possibly the concept of Scourge more later, almost everything from the first draft was changed, rewritten, or otherwise scrapped completely. Question 5. What is a character that you would personally like to see in a Transformers live action film? As the films went on, my characters kept changing. First was Soundwave, check. Then Shockwave, check. Then Grimlock and the Dinobots, check. Obsidian and Tanker I'd like to see similar to their Beast Machines counterparts, as well as Nemesis Prime, Blur, Wreck-Gar, Prowl, and Unicron. I was surprised they introduced the Fallen in the second film. Then again, maybe they didn't quite have a cinematic universe like Marvel's or DC's planned out where they could introduce Unicron and Primus later on. And the final question is, as a concept artist, do you have any advice for aspiring artists who are interested in working towards working in the film industry, such as doing concept art? Just keep doing what you're doing. You can always learn to improve your work. When looking to get into film or video game conceptual art, try finding places where you can reach a specific audience within said fandom. But always keep trying. Don't be afraid of criticism and instead learn to embrace it. Learn from it. Each piece is a stepping stone to learning something new. That is pretty awesome. Great inspirational words, and also very, very interesting insight on the process of creating a character. It always helps when you're a fan of the fandom, and that way you can provide all types of your creativity and inspiration to bring a character to life. So once again, thank you, Riley, so much for taking the time to answer these questions. I think a lot of fans and also a lot of aspiring artists will really appreciate the time that you've taken to give them information about the process. And there you have it. So thank you so much, Riley, and thank you every single one of you guys for watching this conversation. I really appreciate that you guys will take the time to watch a video like this, even though it doesn't really cover the actual filming, but it at least covers the process from getting from one point to another point, and that is from the early, very early stages of development, namely conceptual design. So that is very awesome, very interesting, and something that a lot of people don't know about. So anyways, a message to all the aspiring artists out there: keep on doing what you do. Keep on drawing, keep on creating, keep on coming up with imaginative ideas. And as long as you keep on doing that, put your work out there and people will recognize it. And as long as you keep on doing what you do with passion, good things are gonna happen. So there you have it. That's all I gotta say in this episode. Once again, thank you, Riley. Thank you to all y'all for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, I hope you guys stay tuned for the next episode, episode number 83. We're gonna talk about what is gonna take place in that big battle sequence. All right. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, the Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. All right. So moving on, let's talk about some of the other characters. Check out this photo that was presented from the Transformers social media accounts, and this is to